Welcome back to another weak spot guide. Today we've got the Concept 1B as requested last week. So yeah, let's get started. As always, we're in the 430U, which I'd argue is, you know, the standard kind of ammo loadout, around 250 pen and then 340 pen for the premium rounds. So first thing that you're going to notice is that yes, when it's head on, not hold down, is pretty weak. Like you can go straight through the front of it, no real issues at all with 250 pen. Even kind of the tier 8s can go through it, not an issue. Yes, I know this is a tier 9 vehicle and not everything is going to be having 250 pen, but the majority of tier 9s that you'll meet are probably going to have around about that anyway. Most of the tier 8 and tier 9, well, most of the tier 9 heavies have around about that pen, like 240, 250 pen standard. So yeah, this is going to go straight through no matter what. Like you can even go up here and it's around about 200 millimeters thick. And the lower plate is around about 190. So yeah, there is a lot going for this tank, but frontally when it's out of cover, no. So what do I mean by there's a lot going for this tank? Well, if they miss and they go wide, you're not going to pen this thing. You can pen just there, just above the tracks. There is a little weak spot there. But it is like tiny. Don't rely on it, okay? Because if you miss, you're only going to track it and it will do nothing. The same goes for the other side as well. You can hit this and yes, you can do damage, but don't rely on it because it's just not worth it. The closer you go in, the more easier it gets. As you can see, 192, and it goes all the way out. But yeah, overall, just don't bother. Use this as like a last resort kind of thing because it's just not worth your time. If it's side scraping against you, then you're actually in a lot of luck because no matter what it tries to do, you can just go right at the back there and you'll pen it, no matter what gun you have. Like that's 200 pen. You can also do this underneath, as you can see, as long as you don't aim too high. You can actually pen all the way around here because this bit becomes very, very easy to hit and easily pennable. But the further you go down, yeah, around here is a lot easier than to pen because you're at a better angle. So if you're in a concept, don't side scrape in this thing because it just won't work. Also, the turret of this thing is obviously what people think is broken and overpowered and whatnot. And yeah, to a degree, yeah, it is, especially when it's going backwards and forwards. It's like a chieftain turret, you know, it's only got a few weak spots and it can be hidden quite easily. And when people are actually trying to make it harder for you to hit it, then it's a problem. However, if you are going to be fighting one of these things, there is a slight chance if you have around about 260 pen, you could go through this. As you can see, I have 252 and it's about 255 millimeters of pen that I need to go through this bit up here. Of course, we high roll. But if they are on flat ground and you are slightly above them, just go for the cupola because all of this that you see here is completely pennable. It's not like some of the other cupolas where, you know, the periscopes aren't a weak spot. You can go straight through them pretty much every single time. Like it's a very, very easy hit, easy shot to hit. But besides that, the thing is, it's well armored if RNG says no. If someone actually aims a shot at you and they have a gun that isn't as accurate, then chances are you're just going to pen the concept. And also, the turret on this thing is a lot like a Rhino turret. What I mean by that is that as soon as you go at a bit of an angle, you can pen this thing. 230 pen is what you need. And the closer you go, the better that the pen gets. So that means that no matter where you can't really fight more than one person at a time in the concept. The same way that you can't really fight more than one person in the Rhino. So, yeah. Of course, fail this one because that would be logical. But you can see here, as soon as it gets a little bit of an angle, it becomes very, very easy to pen. And sure, a lot of the tanks are going to be the same like this where you know, the side is always weaker, of course. But in this type of tank where you have such a slim turret and it's really, really quite long, as soon as you try and turn to a different tank, that becomes very, very vulnerable. And an angle like this is not unrealistic. The size of this tank is all pennable with just standard rounds. You're only going to need about 150 pen at most for around here. So you have nothing to really worry about there. And also the rear is about 80. So that means that you cannot pen this with HE unless you have, 90mm or, higher than that. So 75mm, you might high roll the pen and you might go through, but anything else, it's just not really going to work. Like, as you can see here, nothing that I can shoot at can pen it with HE. So, what about if we use heat rounds, though? Well, the tank becomes a lot easier to pen. Obviously, it's exactly the same at the front. It's still a chance that you're going to bounce this, but you'd have to roll pretty low, to be honest, to be able to bounce this, because it's about 300 pen if you're using heat rounds. So if you're using a cran or something like that, then yeah, that's going to be an issue. But there is another better way for you to actually kill this thing if you're using heat rounds. You go to the side, which is about 280mm thick. Do not shoot here or anywhere else. Just shoot around this edge around here, because pretty much every single time you're going to pen it. Even if it's hold down, as you can see here, because it'll be looking down on you, this bit will become a lot easier to shoot. And this is always going to be easy to shoot. So you can pen it every single time. As you can see here, if he's hold down, yes, we do have a chance to go through the upper plate there. But why would you when you could just go through this? All of this is pennable. Like, it's stupidly easy to do. And yes, this is available to you, but it's because it's at a better angle now, it's going to be a lot harder for you to hit. And no, you can't really shoot the cupola when it's like this. You can get lucky and go along the kind of top little ring bit here, but just shoot the canopy or whatever this is called. It's very, very easy to hit. Okay, so can it pen itself? The answer is yes. With very much ease, because you're a little bit taller than the 430U, so you can go for the cupola every single time. And you do have decent standard rounds at 258. So yeah, you don't need to like spam heat rounds at the tank. However, I would recommend you do, because when you do, it becomes a lot easier to pen. Even here, where because it's only 310 pen, it is going to be most of the time a pen, but sometimes you are going to bounce and you're going to get unlucky. And also up here, the same thing applies, because you're slightly taller than it, or sorry, the same height, or if you are slightly taller than it, I should say, you are going to be able to go through this a lot easier as well. But the same thing applies. You can still go and shoot anywhere around here, and most of the time it is going to pen. It is going to be slightly annoying when they start going backwards and forwards and whatnot, but as soon as they try and aim at you, hopefully you can get a shot off. And of course, if it's side scraping, just shoot it at the back there, because it's an easy shot. And just to have a good laugh, this is it against the E3. Yeah, pretty much everywhere is a pen. Obviously not down here, but if you're in an E3 and you're looking at one of these, you can just go and overmatch the very, very turret roof, like every time. And bang, you've just wiped off nearly half his health in one shot. And what does it look like against 375mm of pen? Well, it doesn't look so good, does it? Like, yeah, pretty much. It's actually exactly the same. Because of the angles and whatnot, like, obviously this here is a lot easier to pen. And obviously there, but the down underneath and above, you can't pen, but everywhere else, you can just... It's just so easy to pen this thing against higher tier TD. So, a fun thing about the concept, if you have a 150mm or greater caliber gun, you can go straight through this. So 151 or above, you're going straight through the turret roof every single time, as long as you're firing AP. So ISU 152, straight through it. Doesn't matter. It's, yeah, this is 50mm thick at the top here, so you can just overmatch it. So thank you very much for watching another video. Tell me what you think about the concept and whether or not this helped out when you're fighting against them, or just, helps you out playing the concept as well. And yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button and like the video and leave a comment about the concept for the YouTube algorithm gods. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.